Where arts and adventure summits the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. I am R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer.
Man, that was good.
Thank you.
We are your hosts for the greatest podcast in all the land, and we are humble about it. In studio, we have a full house, so this will be a little interesting because we're gonna swap.
It's like
It's a podcast swap
extension on the trailer today.
Yeah, this is good. So we have OFOAM representation, and then we have Ogden Twilight and Ogden Nature Center for Earth Days. Yeah. So we have a lot going on. We're going to start with OFOAM. We have Michelle Tanner of OFOAM. This is her brainchild. And then this is the first year really of the new recruits here, Jason and Jess Dasher.
Well, actually, they're part of the family, but this is the first time we've recruited them to be team leaders and our volunteer coordinators, and we're so thrilled for their enthusiasm and joy and love of the event, and I can't wait to hear what they have to say.
Are they already using their poll to get extra, work off and stuff, or what's?
Oh my gosh, here's what's amazing is they've been covering our tabling events. They were here at the Monarch a week and a half ago, or a week ago with First Friday Art, and they've been getting out there. Jess came to Women in Business with me there, and Jason's coming to the Partners in Education.
To Women in Business.
Chamber and Commerce. Breakfast. It's great. They're into it.
Well, let's start with volunteers, because volunteers are fun, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of those things you do associate Ogden and volunteers, and I don't know what that statistic is, but it's like best. Isn't it some of the best in the entire country? Like, I know Utah ranks really, really high, but I think Ogden itself ranks even higher.
Oh, is that right?
Has anyone else heard this, or am I just starting a new statistic?
Run with it, roll with it, yeah.
I think we'll all agree with the volunteers in Utah.
Yeah,
it ranks really high.
We take first.
I read something Ogden, about Ogden. Anyway, that's the transition into
and Ogden
what you
is
do.
the brain of Utah, so it just makes sense.
Or the party, whatever works.
Yeah.
Like the brain and the party.
And the party. Mm-hmm. Jess, I swear I've seen you there before, though, at OFOAM, right? You guys? Okay.
Yeah, we've been going there for probably 6 or 7 years, and we've been volunteering. This is our 5th year, and we just really love it. It's just so fun. It's just such a sense of community, and you just walk around, and there's always a happy, smiling face, and you meet new friends. It's just a really great time.
Jason, are you nervous about volunteering, or?
I'm far less nervous about volunteering than doing a podcast.
Give yourself about 5 minutes, you'll be right there.
No, I love
that beer hasn't sunk in yet.
No.
Let's go. All right, whiskey first, then podcast. I mean, we've got to go in the right order here.
Right.
Okay, so this season is coming up. Michelle, you want to give us a rundown of the season?
The season of the whole year for OFOAM?
No, well, no, just
you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ogden Music
so the music festival is definitely coming in short order. It starts June 2nd through 4th, but there's lots of prep and there's more tabling happening. These guys are going to be at the finish line of the marathon. Mm-hmm. We'll have a little cute kids project. So at the festival, we have a huge setup. And then once we get everything going, people just start rolling in on Thursday night to set up their camping and get all positioned with their friends so that they're ready to go when the music starts Friday.
How much camping is there? There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
We increased our number of camping vehicles this year just a little bit because it's amazing. The Parks and Rec people, Todd.
Ferrario.
Yeah.
They just keep cleaning it up and making better use of the space. So they've made a little more room, and we're up to like 145 camping vehicles, which is anything from sleeping in your truck or van to
like a motorhome?
A bigger motorhome or
Do you
RV.
keep track of like first-time attendees? Is that a question that comes up in any sort of survey?
We do usually ask that in a survey. And we've got a new ticket thing that our survey is going to be post-fest this year, and hopefully it's going to, we'll be able to capture that
I think
data,
you just need someone at the gate every time they're leaving, and it's like, hey, answer these questions before you walk to your car.
Right.
How many times have you been here? Is this your first time?
Yeah.
I would venture to guess that particularly the campers this is a ritual for them. And sometimes it probably goes back very far. Would I guess right? I think that'd probably be about right.
Yeah, not only that, but I feel like so many people are just really getting into it. And it's the kids. It's the kids that are like, can my friends come? And so I'm finding myself asking different parents just so the kids can come. And they're like, okay, well, the kids are free. Let's go and have a good time all together. So really cool.
Jason, you're cracking me up.
Dude.
All right, so we're looking at putting together a
wife's
music
the talker,
festival, right?
so-
And so that's all right. I got a good question for you right now. And so let's talk about just the staff itself first. So I know that this big multi-day festival is put together by a team of dozens, correct?
Yes.
Or less than that?
Well, we have about 20 team leaders who are in charge of their groups of volunteers, during the festival. But we've been meeting since February, and sometimes every week, at least every other week. And so dozens, yeah, it kind of is. And there's all the extenuating things like the fencing that has to come in and get set up, and Weber County brings their stage in and that gets set up. But before that happens, we have to get the backstage area built with our green rooms, our RVs, and different things that we need back in there first.
Now,
Porta
I'd say best
potties.
green room in town. Now, we have a pretty good one here, but
That's a good grade room.
It's a pretty darn good green room. It's very similar vibes there.
And we're holding your spot on the little
All right.
driveway.
Heck yeah.
We'll be there.
Heck yeah.
We'll be there. Look forward to that.
Van literally down by the river.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Exactly. We look forward to it, like, honestly, the most of the whole year. And so I think we're all getting very, very excited as the time comes along. And so you are how many days out now?
Oh, I don't know, days,
How
weeks.
what's the
6,
dates again?
June 4th?
2 through 4. June 2 through 4.
2 through 4.
Okay, 2nd through 4th. So that is literally around the corner. And so
Yeah.
how many volunteers are necessary to run an event?
Yo, do we need
this
more?
big?
Yeah, we need some more volunteers.
This is kind of what we're getting at right here. Yeah.
Jason's just fantastic. He's like, why don't we just move the mic in front of Jess? This is-
He knows. He knows that I like to talk, so he lets me do that. He's a good husband.
He is a good husband. I've heard.
Yeah, we have about 200 or so volunteers, and we probably need about 100, 150 more.
Whoa.
Or if people want to pick up extra shifts or anything. But we've got off to a really good start, and we're already filling up camping, and it's just really filling up. The fort is just so special to me. When I was a little kid, I always went to the Mountain Man Rendezvous there, and it's just got the best vibe ever. It's just so fun, and Jason and I got married there. We've been to Equinox there, but,
Oh, you can't just run right past that. I think we have to
Okay.
talk about that just a little bit.
Scoot that mic over. Let's hear it.
yeah, let's hear it.
Fondest wedding.
So you don't just
fondest
get
wedding
married there.
memory.
So clearly that was a planned event, and so this is a very special place for you. Right. So let's take it back just a little bit further as far as how that sort of bond was created between the two of you. Did you meet there? Is it one of those stories?
Well, I mean, we're just super outdoorsy.
Okay.
So we love to camp, and I would say the fort was the best outdoor venue we could find that could facilitate all of our friends. And, we had Rick Gerber and them played all night. And
Awesome.
So it was super cool.
And we slept in the teepees.
Yep.
First night together in the teepee. That's cool.
How do you book those out? That's fantastic.
I think it was a lot looser then.
Yeah. Maybe that's the case.
I think they were like, sure, you can have a part. Yeah.
Maybe that's the case. And so, this is going to be, the tradition for you that you can't shake at this point just because of that history.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's so special. And OFOAM is it's like a step above the other festivals. It's so family friendly. It's just, my kids, not kidding, they ask about it the day it's over. When are we going back to OFOAM? That's like their happy place. They've been.
So, Michelle, do we have 2 dates coming in years to come? One in the spring, one in the fall? The kids are calling for it.
Oh, we tried that. We had 2 festivals for a while there. The Ogden Valley Roots and Blues Festival we had in August for 4 years, and it was fabulous, but we couldn't do it. It was the whole volunteer,
It's a lot of work.
creating the whole big party and stuff. It was too much, but it was great. But the kids do love it, but they have other opportunities. We do educational outreach concerts in the high school. We've got one coming up this next Tuesday with Pixie and the Party Grass Boys at Ogden High.
Well, for real?
Yeah, and it's not a public event, so I can't throw out details, but we're so excited about that.
They're performing for the kids, or how?
For the high
Okay.
school music students and junior high, and they'll be busing from Ben Lomond, Mount Fort, Mount Ogden, and it's going to be a good time.
Okay, how did that happen?
Well, we've been doing it for several years in different capacities. You know, we used to do an outreach after the festival at the Ogden Amphitheater. And then that just logistically didn't work.
And then Derek
great.
took over, and it's all downhill.
They got
Ran it into the ground. We'll talk about that later. Yeah.
Next up.
Oh, yeah. And we associate an outreach. We have one every year with our Dia de los Muertos event. And that's also, last year and this year, too, it will be at Ben Lomond. And that's October 19th. And we do an informal outreach at Youth Impact. So we do things for kids all the year. But the thing we're really proud about with kids is the instrument petting zoo that's out at the festival. We've managed to really acquire some fabulous instruments and improve that over
And
the
it really
years.
is what you say it is. It's like you go try the instruments, an instrument petting.
How did that program start? Because word of mouth, that's probably
it's
one of the
pretty
biggest
sweet.
things that come out of that festival.
It goes back to my brother's festival that inspired me in Flagstaff to have a festival in Ogden, and they were doing it. And they had this guy named Todd, who traveled
Sounds
the country.
familiar.
Yeah. And we got Todd to come, and he had a van full of instruments, and he came and helped us out for several years, and then that didn't work out. And we worked with David Owen and Adam Kozlowski, and they would bring their instruments. And then it was actually during the pandemic that we're like, what can we write funding for? And we got funded for buying new instruments. So we've got our own stash. And then we thought, why do these instruments sit around the rest of the year and are only used in one weekend? So we have an instrument lending library and free music lessons at Youth Impact and the Boys and Girls Clubs. And this has just been established, and we're a year into it, and it's growing, and it's so great. We're giving guitar lessons, harmonica lessons, violin lessons, and mandolin lessons.
Your collaborations are just incredibly inspiring. I don't know how you do it. I think that I found myself asking these same questions the last time you were on, just because I don't know how, because you have many people that are on your staff certain times of the year. You have fewer that are on the staff year round. How many people do that you kind of chip away at it year round?
So that's probably a core three of us: Reba, Carrie Roberts, and myself, and others too. Though others help out, like Leanne Ballard is there all the time for us, and she's in charge of the Kids Zone. And I mean, Jess and Jason will tell you how the kids just live for the getting their face painted and having these activities at the Kids Zone. And we also have yoga in the mornings. And Leanne told me, just know that yoga, they'll be there on their mats and in the Zen. And once the kids see that I'm there starting to set up, they came tearing through the yoga field, stepping on people's mats to get to the Kids Zone craft area.
That's awesome.
I thought that was great.
I think what I love most about OFOAM too is the fact that it is stayed fresh all these years, and that is the best of what worked the year before continues, because we in Ogden love a lot of that. But it seems like there's always something new. You're trying new things. Sometimes it works. Maybe it doesn't work so much, but you're just always still experimenting every year. And congratulations on that. I think that's the reason why, the volunteers will come out, because, there's something new for them even every single year. So let's drum up some volunteer,
because we need
sort of a call here.
We need more volunteers.
What can we do?
Yeah, what are the bennies to volunteer?
So if you volunteer, you get, for 3 hours, you get a 1-day shift.
Wait, that's it?
3 hours, you get a 1-day shift. If you do 2 3-hour shifts, you get the whole weekend. And then if you're volunteer, if you want to camp, you have a just $25 fee, and then you can camp the whole weekend as well. And you can camp from Thursday till Monday. So that's really cool. It's not just like the festival's over, clean up and leave. You have time to just hang out and chill with your friends. You know, people are actually playing music all night at fires,
What?
camp spot, and so you can just
This
go
is unheard
around.
of.
I think there's
So
somebody just came in the van that could probably speak from experience.
vouch for that.
I feel like
Shane, what's your experience in the evenings at OFOAM?
I got one here, Shane.
I will just
Or
say
not.
that I don't need headphones. I'll just talk.
But thank you.
The first OFOAM that I got to actually play on the stage, I was with a different band.
Shane Osgthorpe, everyone.
Yeah,
Sorry
I was
about
with a
that.
different band called Working in Shifts, and the headliner that
Oh, I
Saturday
don't remember
night
that, huh?
was Robert Earl Keen, right? So of course you're going to stay up and party with Robert Earl Keen. So we did that, and I was like, okay, we're the first band on stage on Sunday. So, but we started walking out, and we walked past the first campfire jam. We're like, let's just sit in for a second and just like loosen up and play for a minute. And I ended up getting home here in Ogden, so I wasn't camping out there that time. I just gone out for the show Saturday night. Got home to my house about 6:30 a.m. Sun was coming up, and I had no voice. I had blown my because around those campfire jams, there's no microphone, so you're singing over 17 mandolin players and 4 banjos and 18 guitar players, and you're just singing as loud as you can. And I had no voice. I went home and I drank honey lemon tea for 6 hours and didn't say a word. My voice came back, and it lasted for the 45-minute set that we had to play that day. So that's what the campfire scene is like at OFOAM. You'll stay up all night playing music with some of the best musicians you've ever heard in your life.
It's so
And that's just like walking around. You run into these.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most important bit of advice there is that honey and then tea.
Yeah,
and
honey
so
and
this
lemon and tea, yeah.
this situation, identical situation, will happen with musicians. And so just a little FYI advice right there. Yeah.
Yep.
And so another reason to think about volunteering this year is to catch a glimpse of something like that.
Yeah,
seriously.
Campfires.
Right. And a new thing we have this year is we're actually going to have a volunteer party 2 weeks after the festival, just to actually, sometimes when you're at the festival volunteering, you don't actually get to meet all the people because you're working. So you actually get to meet everyone you're volunteering with.
So if you have like party
organizers.
FOMO,
Right.
we're going to
we're going
What
to
a
have more
great
partying.
idea.
Yeah.
Do you have that planned yet? You got a location?
Yeah,
You
we're
got
at the Dancing Moose Farms in Huntsville. So that will be really
fun.
Dan Daly and Susie just totally offered it to us, and we're really excited.
But that's such a good idea, because just like musicians never being able to really see other musicians because they're all gigging at the same time, the volunteers may not be able to see each other because of the shifts crossing and everything. That's a great idea.
It's a volunteer meetup.
Yeah. After the fact, a little celebration
And
of what
it's
they've done.
free. Yeah.
And thanks to Jesse and Jason, it's happening because we're always, as other directors, just too exhausted after the festival to even think about that. But I'm so glad it's happening. And thanks to Dan Daly to let us use this spot. It'll be so fun.
What notes do we need to cover from Reba?
Oh, I think we covered
I
it.
think we
covered
covered
them?
it, but I
Okay.
think the most important thing is if we want to volunteer, where do we go? Who do we talk to? You got a website?
Yeah, you just go to ofoam.org, and I think on the left side in the menu, there's a sponsor list and there's a volunteer list. So just click on the volunteers, and there's also a spot if you volunteer, if you just want to, or buy a ticket, there's a spot that you can just donate. If you love our cause about the will and the way and just trying to get kids involved with our music and in the community, then you can go ahead and help donate and just be a part of us as well that way.
Yeah, worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it. I can't wait to have
Yeah,
this
and we've got a
conversation
great
afterwards.
lineup, and we've got some great local artists that are on the tweener stage. This year, we had 79 applicants
For
on the-
tweeners,
for
locals.
tweeners,
Wow.
and it was hard to pick.
Is there, you said local, do people, are they all local, or do you bring
No,
tweeners
there's
in
some
from?
from Salt Lake and some
Okay.
out of state, but we had so many applicants, we kind of eliminated the out of state ones because we thought, let's just keep it local.
Yeah.
And we prioritize kid bands when we can because that's part of our mission, but really we've got some great ones coming.
Do you want to talk headliners real quick and give a little shout
Well,
out to?
If we've got a little time, so we're so excited about Daniel Ponder. Friday night is going to be a soul night. Daniel Ponder, The Sacred Souls, they're just really on the rise in that regard. And we've used to be known as pretty exclusively a bluegrass festival, and we've really veered from that. And we attribute that to being part of Ogden. Ogden's diverse. We like to have a diverse lineup. We have a lot of bands of color. Well, Danielle, The Sacred Souls, Miko Marks and the Resurrectors. Oh, man, they're so good. And then our traditional bluegrass, our legacy artist, Dan Tominski, Della May, all-girl bluegrass band. We've got a kid band from Heber, the West Road. We've got from Salt Lake, Pomp and Honey.
Pomp and Honey.
Uh-huh.
Dude, Pomp and Honey was amazing on van sessions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
And Pixie and the Party Grass Boys. And again, they're doing a show at Ogden High. And John Craigie. Oh my gosh, John Craigie is all the rage. And there's people who say, I'm just going to come and see him. And I'm like, well, you'll be surprised who else you'll see there too. But he's so fun. And who am I forgetting? Oh, Los Tex Maniacs with La Marisol. So we're committed to bringing a Hispanic band. We're committed to involving our Hispanic. 30% of Ogden is Hispanic. And we do it with our Dia de los Muertos event in October. But we do it here too. And this is going to be so great. These guys are just putting an album out together, and they're from different parts of the country. But they work with Smithsonian Folkways. They're on that label, which means they're pretty serious about representing the history of our country and the evolution of music and the blending of cultures. It's so fun.
Plus, they know how to party. They do. They have a good time when they sing. Yeah.
Our next round of instruments for Will and Way are mariachi instruments that we're purchasing, and we'll start that up here in Ogden.
Do you have a bagpipe?
We don't know, but we've got.
May I suggest?
But let me tell you,
We have enough of those.
You'll see if you come to the Ogden Music Festival and camp. The Ben Lomond bagpipers are going to come and round you up on Saturday morning.
Awesome.
There you go.
They'll wake your ass up. I tell you what, those suckers are loud, man.
Yeah.
Totally. The mariachi band also, we always have a kid parade. The kids make an instrument and then they have a parade and the mariachi band leads it and everyone sings a little song as they're playing their instrument, marching through the festival, and they go up on stage and the kids get to do a whole song with them. It's so fun. They love it.
Jason, you do any camping this summer?
Yeah, we're actually going to Moab next week.
See? Now we're talking about what Jason wants.
Yeah. See, there, you can get me there.
Now's a good time to go.
Biking, climbing, hiking. What are you doing down there?
Probably mountain biking and climbing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You get out much these days?
Not as much as used to.
You're working a little bit?
But yeah, kids are skiing now. Kids are biking.
Kids are old
now,
enough to ski and bike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's your position here at the festival? Do you know? Do you have one? Assistant?
Yeah, well, volunteer coordinator with Jess, but she's been doing a lot of that. Usually help out with tear down a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the key word today is volunteer.
Volunteer. We need some, so yeah.
Yeah, so if you're hearing this and if you would like a day pass or you just want to do a good thing, then come out and find a slot. And I'm sure if you need recommendations, that there's somebody you can talk to as well. Like say you're very new to town and you want to give it a shot and you want to hear a little bit more.
That's a good way to meet people too.
It's a great way to meet people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you might end up getting married at the festival itself.
Yep.
You never know. Jess, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I was going to say Green Team is, I think, in need of a few helpers, and that is really a fun group. They're very.
Is that Wolf Graham?
Yeah, it's Shauna this year, and And part of that is the bike valet. And so you're either going to be sitting with cool people checking in fancy bikes for people who ride their bikes down there, or, helping us with minimizing our footprint. We've got a pig farmer from Brigham who's going to be taking our food waste, because I learned that that's a huge part of landfill problems, is if you can eliminate a lot of that food waste, that's really helpful. Second only to plastic.
Wild.
In troubles in your...
I had no idea.
I know. It's pretty
Learn
amazing.
something every podcast.
Yeah, we leave it. We try to leave it better than we get there.
Yeah. Jess?
Totally. Well, another way, if you were having any questions or wanted to know where to volunteer, you can email me at volunteer.ofoam@gmail.com. So
Okay.
email me or find me on Facebook, Jessie Dasher, and write me a message, and I'll tell you all the cool things and where to volunteer.
Perfect.
Jess, Jason, Dasher, Michelle Tanner with OFOAM. Thanks so much for stopping by the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. We have a full house. We're going to do a little swapperooski here. We're going to have 3 come out, and we're going to have our guests come in. And Shane, I think you will be the reason that if you show up here one week and there's another microphone on that side, just just appears.
Accepting whoever else is.
Well, thank you guys. We really appreciate it, and thanks for having us out.
Thanks for having us, and shout out to Joe McQueen Day and also
Where's the picture?
Volunteer Appreciation Week.
Hold up the picture.
So sign up.
That's a great picture.
Today's Joe McQueen Day. Oh, it comes a little
Or tomorrow, the 19th.
tomorrow. Okay, yeah, there it is, right there.
When this
Very
gets
cool.
released. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube. Joe McQueen Day. That's a great picture. It is. Who took that one? Was that a Sam?
Legend.
That's Sam. That
Sam?
was his
Yeah.
last show. We had a party for our Crossroads event, and it was his last show.
Okay, Jared, I want to know first off, do you drink anything besides water ever these days, or are you just water only?
Well, I don't really have two speeds when drinking. You know, I drink on the weekend and I swing for the fence, and on the weekdays I drink water.
Fair. That's
fair.
a good plan. Yeah.
All right, Jared Allen with Ogden Twilight, alleged bars in town, and among other things, allegedly. Yeah.
Yep.
Derek Williamson, Ogden Amphitheater coordinator, still.
It's kind of expanding to be included in it. My role's expanding to maybe one day be a venue coordinator. We're adding the Dumke Arts Plaza to our roster right now.
Okay.
So
You get a pay raise for that? Or?
it's a negotiation.
It's negotiations. All right. We'll help you with that.
That was a big fat nope. Not yet.
Yeah. Brandi Bosworth, Ogden Nature Center. Earth Days is this weekend, which is very cool. Jared, on Ogden Twilight, is this so? You like to adventure down in Southern Utah. You just got back from Southern Utah.
Yep.
By the way, your child is young-ish but old enough to. Do you get nervous with your kid down there? Because there's some dead, like, don't mess up places.
Yeah, no, definitely. I double back as I get through an obstacle and make sure he's coming through it okay for sure. Yeah, it's scary, but I think it's good to get out there and live. So.
You do canyoneering, or what's your
quasi?
go-to?
We're not
Okay.
we're not harnessed up or using ropes or anything. It's like mild bouldering problems, you know.
Okay. What place have you not hit down there that you want to go explore?
Well, I mean, there's I haven't. So we just did the subway this last weekend, but we did it bottom up. You can't do top down right now due to water levels or stuff like that. But actually, in a couple weeks, once some more snow melts, we're going to try and do the Zion Traverse, which is like 37 miles in one day. It'll take a lot of running.
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah. We're basically going to be running most of it. Yeah. So, I've always got a project going, but that's the current one. As soon as the snow melts enough. So
is that what keeps you sane, or what's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah. Because it's
what makes you crazy.
No, it's a good stress reliever to just go out and break yourself physically against things that are hard. And you know, when you're frustrated with the world or a work project, instead of like
wait, you get frustrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
quite regularly. But rather than like lashing out and saying something dumb that you can't take back or something, just go run and sweat it out, and it's just a more like positive means of getting rid of that stress.
Brandon, take note.
I need
just a total asshole around me.
You want to go for a run, Brandon?
Yeah, let's go.
I think that you can.
Let's go. Todd's trying to tell me something. Well, Are you done with your job as far as Ogden Twilight goes for this season? Because everything's booked right now, or what else do you have to do?
So at this point, all of our headliners are booked, but we've still got to work with some of our special guests and local spotlight artists in terms of the booking side of things. We're still working with sponsors and some promotional side of stuff, but yeah. So as far as like the creative curation side of things, most of the work is done, and then we'll shift gears and it gets more into production, and that's where Derek and our friends at SNS kind of take over and do the heavy lifting.
We'll get to Derek in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If we have time.
If we have time.
It's a negotiation.
Okay, so just
Derek, I'm the funny one on the show. All right.
yeah.
Okay, I'll send the
Quit stealing Todd's thunder, Derek.
Good stuff today.
Okay, we're selling out though. So we've got, I think, season tickets that says sold out online. Is that right?
Yeah, season tickets are sold out, and 4 of the 10 shows are sold out. VIPs sold out to all 10 shows. I imagine all 10 shows will sell out completely, but I think Cascade's getting pretty close. Sylvanesso's getting pretty close. Flaming Lips is doing well. We still got to add special guests to Sylvanesso and Flaming Lips, and I think when we do that, those will likely get pushed over the top.
Okay, so the lineup is spectacular. You probably make millions of dollars on this, and that's why you do it, right?
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, you would not believe, how much you make on $10, $15 tickets.
Yeah.
Those types of bookings. No, we started out just completely. The whole goal of the series was, Christy McBride and I were sitting on the roof at Alleged one night, and just talking about how rad the Salt Lake Twilight concert series was. And it was like, why isn't there anything like this in Ogden? And they were doing July and August at that point. And we're like, well, let's do Thursdays in June. Yeah. And that's kind of where we started. And it was $5 tickets. And the whole goal was, all these people are kind of talking trash on Ogden, but like, it's clear they haven't been here and seen how much it's changed. And it's like, hey, let's have these like cheap or affordable concerts anyway that include your transit up here, and let them come up and see just how awesome Ogden really is. And the concerts and the artists were more or less the bait to kind of help us change the perception of our, of Ogden within the state of Utah.
What year is this for you?
Of the series?
Yeah.
I think this is our 8th year of artists. It would be our 9th if not for the COVID season. Yeah.
Are you getting tired, or are you still as pumped as you were when you first started?
Well, I mean,
because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, but it's such a passion project. There's I can't think of anyone out there who would get tired of chasing their favorite artists, and it's like, you lose your shit just to go see your favorite artist, let alone to bring them to town and maybe get to meet them and see your community fall in love with that artist as well, and you share that thing that you're passionate about. So the energy is always there for that side of thing. I mean, I can't imagine ever getting tired of it, honestly.
And you just like take classes to learn how to book musicians, And then...
No. I mean, no, it was totally trial by fire. Like when we started, we actually tried to hand it off. I sent an email to Casey Jarman, who had been booking the Salt Lake series, and I didn't get a response because he had just, in some capacity, whatever, his relationship there with the Salt Lake series had ended that year. And so I tried to reach out to him. Didn't get in touch, and then I reached out to Will Sartain, who we work with now, and asked him to book it. And he's like, "Yeah, good luck, buddy."
Wow.
And then I'm like, "Well, I guess I'll figure it out." And fortunately, one booking agent in particular that I reached out to, just was super cool. And he's like, "Don't say this, do that, don't," and really helped kind of coach me through the process. And then at the end of the season, and I'm still really proud of our first year's lineup. It may not be like as popular, as some of the others, but if you go back and listen to that playlist or look at those artists, it was a really eclectic and really a strong year for what it was our first year. But anyway, I convinced Will Sartain, good friend, and again works on the series now, if I could take him out to lunch at the end of the series and just kind of, if he could tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, and I was just kind of breaking it down. And I was telling him, and I definitely made a lot of mistakes that year, which he was just, in tears laughing a few times about. And I think that whole process kind of endeared him to the series or us, that we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants, but made it work. And then he kind of came on behind the scenes the subsequent years, and he would just be BCC'd on emails, and he's like, "No, don't say that, say this," and cool. I know this guy, I bet you could get it for this, or Lyric really just kind of had like a coach, in your ear the whole time telling you what to do, which was super helpful.
I think there's nothing more bonding than the critique being just laughing.
Yeah.
That's always
That's
good.
sure. Heading in the right direction.
That's
what's going on.
I can't believe you guys pulled it off. Way to go. Oh my God, you're a moron.
Because your goal of winning over Salt Lake pretty much happened immediately.
Yeah, no, for sure. Actually, from the beginning, we sell more tickets to Salt Lake County than we do to Weber County.
What?
Yeah, every year.
Wow.
Yeah. And that the train ride is so crucial to that, I think.
Yeah. So if Derek took over booking next year, what advice would you give him?
I don't know that Janelle Monáe can play 10 nights in a row.
Yeah, I told everybody I'd quit if my favorite artists came because I would prefer to watch the shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're right about that, exactly. It's so funny.
Well, everyone, I'm sure, gives you, like, you should book this person, you should book this person. How do you fight that off? Do you ever listen to anyone's requests?
I definitely listen to input. But it's so tricky. I don't think people realize it's like this really insane matchmaking that goes on. It's like we're on one chunk of floating ice in a river and the band's on another chunk of ice in the river, and there's so many things moving in between. Like our tour is taking us this way and your venue's not open this day, or like and it's really a miracle anytime you actually come together on one of these, because we're a small market and our budgets just don't compare to like a New York or LA or anywhere else. But if an artist has got a big gig at Red Rocks and then a big gig at, the Greek at Berkeley, it's like, well, wait a second, we're already on the road, we're passing through, maybe we can pick something up. And that's honestly what we do a lot of times is these artists and they've got 3 semis and 2 buses and how many artists and gear.
They need a place to stay for the night. And,
well, I mean, they're spending 20, 30 grand a day in overhead, which is all that equipment. And so maybe they're getting a huge paycheck at Red Rocks or a huge paycheck in California, but and it takes years of conversations to get them up to the speed on the idea of like, really, this is a $15 ticket, whatever. Yeah. Would you consider playing for this? And if there's no other show in the market that can absorb them and pay them more than we can, and they're into the community vibe thing, like, yeah, let's.
So you get some by default sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes they come to us. Sometimes we go to them. More often than not, because we are so picky with the series, we're generally hunting everybody and for years at a time before we land them.
What's the max you can pay with this series?
I don't know that it would depend on the ticket price. We could. Okay. I've got my white whale that I would like to try to land someday, but to.
Def Leppard.
No, that's okay. God. That's out of the bag. It really is like we'd have to change the ticket price incrementally to make it work. And
is that something you've thought about doing for one night?
Well, so we did. We started with $5 tickets on the season, and then we went to 10, then 15. And then I think this year we have 3 $20 ticket shows. And last year we actually had 2 at $25 tickets.
Didn't even remember.
Yeah. And that was loud. I mean, massive, pop appeal. Not necessarily my typical wheelhouse, but it was such a, part of the job is, booking stuff that the community would like that will fill 7,000 seats type of thing. So that was, even though it wasn't necessarily my personal favorite, it would have been a dumb move not to take that booking,
Plus, I'm sure you're taking into account too I think one of the best parts of, let's say, both Twilight series is the affordable nature of the tickets. Everybody can go, right? And so there's so many concerts that come through. I could list any of them, that are coming through Red Butte or something that it's like, I would love to go, but I can't swing that.
Yeah. And the nice thing with the season ticket then is it's super affordable.
Exactly.
So even the $20 tickets are only $15 tickets, or the $25 tickets last year were $15 tickets.
And so without giving prices, I've always had, I've been curious, especially these bands that you kind of try to recruit over a period of years. Do bands consider less because they love the area? Do they consider less because they're available at a certain time?
I think it's almost entirely due to routing. If they've got a big pay date, a big anchor date on either side of us, and they're routing through anyway, I think like we couldn't get a band that wasn't playing, that wasn't already active, to come see us for anything, honestly. Sure. It's just they're already on tour, they're already routing, and they're in the area.
We need routing software.
Yeah.
To know which bands are going where when. That would make your booking.
And that's it. All comes down to just relationships, like talking to the booking agents. And again, talking years in advance. Like we hit them up like, sorry, they're not active this year, but all right, they'll make a little note that, all right, well, when they are active, this series is interested, and they'll reach back out to us, or we'll follow up with our kind of wish list every single year and just kind of check in and see where they're at,
So Flaming Lips is now Ogden every year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty wild.
It's so nuts. Yeah, feel very grateful for them coming here and putting on those shows. And I don't think there's a live show that I ever leave that I'm not like more euphoric than that show. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, what are we missing, Todd?
So, Derek.
Uh-oh.
How many of the performances have you seen, like the glitter set list?
Because Derek works every show. Yeah.
How much glitter? How much confetti? Is that written into these contracts yet?
It's always given with the Flaming Lips.
Okay, fair.
We've got that much prepared for. The rest of it is really preferred that I don't have to see a single paper set of confetti in any capacity. and that's in our contract too. No, it's not. No, we're prepared to, we have some preferences, but we're prepared to, handle the shows as they come, and hopefully, despite all our preferences, we give a good experience to all the people that get to participate.
So how's your staff? How's your team? What's the kind of official relationship between the city and the concert series?
Oh, that's above my pay grade. I don't really know.
Oh, I would say, I mean, it's an incredible venue, and that was one of the things that came to town. I think so often the venue can make a difference between a great show or not. Like I've gone to so many concerts that were essentially in like cinder block storage bays. They're just not interesting. And but on a nice warm summer night with a sloped lawn and this vined trellis and great sight lines everywhere, I mean, it's an amazing venue.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So and it seems like anywhere in there, it feels intimate, and you've got a good view of the artists, and the artists are connecting with the fans. And I think the venue is a big part of what makes Ogden Twilight special.
I'm excited about that answer. Yeah. I mean, nothing beats a summer night looking at some great stage performances, hanging out with all your cool friends, eating some pizza or corn dogs, all that. It's all part of the experience, I think.
Anything new in the amphitheater this year? Anything new to eat? Anything new to drink? Any new staff positions?
I drink a lot of water as well. I'll be honest. Those days are really
what we're
hard for
getting at,
me.
basically.
Okay.
I believe that about his father.
Well, yeah. What are you going to do, Derek? You're going to have a heavy August, and so how are you going to train for that?
Yeah, so our arts, culture, and events team just did some hiring. We've attended a few hiring events and stuff like that, and we work with a largely seasonal staff to fill out our events team. And the last few days, my team and I have been spending a lot of time in front of a spreadsheet, just kind of getting familiar. Like, do we have the right budget to hire enough people to accomplish what we need to? Especially in August, there are 6 shows as well as a handful of other community events. And there's a lot of turnover for how quickly those events are, following each other. And there's so many different city services that we have to consider. It's not just picking up the garbage. It's also moving in the fencing and the bleachers and making sure the bathrooms are prepared and all the production that comes in and out. And there's just a lot of coordination. So knowing that we have the right staff on hand and trained well enough to accept all these changes and, expectations is imperative.
Yeah, well, plus the bar is already set. You guys do such an incredible job each year.
Well, thank you.
And if you don't, we don't notice it. And so I'd just say that you do an incredible job.
Well, we do make our team wear a uniform. There's a lot of different moving parts of different kinds of staffs of the Ogden Twilight series, between the security, the production, all of the vendors that bring in like their food trucks and beverage sales and stuff like that. But then our actual city staff, we make wear like a teal blue uniform. So if you see one of us drop something, you're going to notice.
The jig is up.
Yes.
Jared, how do you book your openers?
With the special guests, it's kind of like, first we get the headliners in, and even with that, we try to look at like what gaps do we have, like sonically in the series, like, oh, we need something more electronic or more folk, or what haven't we covered? And I think when we get to the special guests, we're doing some of that as well, where like, what gaps do we have in sound, or what would add some diversity. But also a lot of times, as these artists are routed through, they have direct support on their entire tour. So say, for example, like M83 and Bon Iver, both are the artists that the special guests they're bringing with them. But in cases when the artists don't have it, then we get to go out and look for artists, and we have to submit them to the headliners for approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, say, a local band, is there an avenue they can get to reach out to audition, or how does that work?
The best thing to do is to email me, but more often than not, because we work with SNS and because they own so many venues in Salt Lake, whatnot, they're familiar with all the local bands and who's hot locally right now. I mean, generally these artists are already playing Kilby Court pretty regularly, and they know if they're selling it out or not. And so I honestly listen to a lot of input from the SNS guys on who to go with for the locals. But another thing that's helpful is have a strong Spotify, have a strong YouTube, stuff where it's easy to send links to the headliners for approval. Because ultimately what we do is we'll take 3, we'll submit it to the headliner for approval. You generally want the sound to be somewhat like in harmony with the sound of the artist. Like they're not going to put a country sounding
But
artist
not better
with
than.
No, definitely. Well, I mean, honestly, that would probably be stoked more often than not. Honestly, yeah, it's amazing how often you'll see the headliners come out and watch the locals on stage.
cool.
Like they love music too. You know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, we had, I can't remember, I think it was Portugal the Man sitting in the crowd watching the Moss and just like going crazy. But I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. It's something I'm working on for something this year later. But yeah, I think just make sure you're easily presentable via a quick email. Like send your best song, like your best Spotify song. Another thing that really matters to these artists, especially the more complicated shows, like when we have the National come out. I mean, they have 100 different inputs with all the different mics on stage and what's going on. You think about that, and like, all right, we got to have not only a special guest come through, but a local. And it's like once they do their sound check, they don't want too many people walking through there pulling on things. It's like so a lot of times we have a hard time getting approval for locals if the stage setup is super complicated. But one way to get around that is if it's a simple setup. It's 1 or 2, 3 people. It's not a ton of inputs. So yeah, sometimes it's about simplicity. Sometimes it's about sound. It really just comes down to their preferences.
Can you enjoy the night of the shows? Or are you nervous? Or
I 100% enjoy the night of the show.
Okay.
See, that's yeah. So
I takes over.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah. So like, I work my butt off now.
Derek, do you enjoy the night of the shows?
I love that you love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm definitely like once the showtime rolls around, I'm there as a fan. Hopefully, all things are delegated, and I'm just singing my guts out and dancing and having a good time.
Well, how cool is it to share it with? Because you share it with your kids.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, my daughter loves music, has since the day she was born, and she actually plays guitar and drums and teaches voice lessons and teaches songwriting, and yeah, she's.
Does she ever say, "Do you know who my dad is"?
I don't think she does.
Okay.
No, she's such a well-adjusted human being.
Good.
Yeah, really, really chill. But yeah, she was the announcer from the beginning of the series, and it was like I grew up in the arts. I'm a visual artist versus like a musical artist. Don't have any skill there, but it's so the art world or the music world can seem a million miles away from Ogden, Utah. Like that's not a real career. It's not a viable path to an income. Yeah. And I think by bringing these people to town and letting them see that they're real individuals, not just these, I don't know, avatars on a stage. These are real people and real lives that music could be your life. You could make this your income. You could follow your passion. Your
I
dream.
love that you said that. That's kind of what we do with some of these mural artists that we bring in, and that's able to interact with some of our local visual artists as well, just to see what's possible.
It's a real income. It's a real So,
is Isla saying, "Do you know who my dad is yet?" Is your
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, she drops that in the grocery store. It's weird. Yeah, all the time. It's.
I don't believe you at all. At all. So I have to ask you one last question. My favorite musician in that whole lineup is Beck. I've just been a fan of Beck since the beginning of time. And so take me through, you can be quickly, but how'd you make that happen?
So that one is...
This is a unique show.
Yeah. It was really crazy because... there was one day, actually, I was working on the Windsor, just doing construction, and I got an email, and this was actually 2 years ago, but his booking agent's name is Marlene, and I got an email, and she's like, I'm reaching out on behalf of Ogden Twilight. Am I talking to the right person? This is for Beck. And I was like, wait, what? And I like, holy God, like lost my shit instantly, got on the phone with Will, forwarded him the email, and he's like, holy crap. And so we were trying to piece it together, and it didn't work out that year. But again, you start the dialogue, people get to know each other. And, but then, I had noticed that he was on Arcade Fire's tour as Beck Acoustic, last year before they had all that controversy, and then he pulled out. It was no longer on the tour. But then just in the back of the head, that thought stayed that, oh, Beck Acoustic, that's a possibility. That's a different type of booking that could maybe occur. And then, when they announced I can't remember, it's like some sort of Everlasting Summer. I don't remember the name of the tour, but it's Beck and Phoenix, and I think Japanese Breakfast are all going on tour this summer. And so that's a massive show. But I saw that they're playing like Vegas on 8/12 and then Red Rocks on 8/15. So again, this is one of those scenarios where it's like massive show. Mm-hmm. We've got all this overhead and 3 days in between. I'm like, gosh, is there any way we can pick this up? So we emailed Marlene and floated the idea past her. And
shout out to Marlene again.
Yeah. She was instantly receptive, and then took it to. So there's so many tiers. That's like there's the booking agent, and then there's the manager, and then there's But anyway, everybody seemed super into the idea, and they were telling us for weeks it was going to happen. It was going to happen, and it ended up taking about 6 weeks before it confirmed. But and that's why we delayed on the announcement as long as we did, is we were waiting on that one. We're like, this is like such a big booking, we don't want to give this up, because it's either like you can set a deadline and like pull it out from them. I'm sorry, you didn't commit in time, we're writing it off for somewhere else. But we just didn't want to let it go. So we just, and lo and behold, it actually came back the night of my daughter's birthday. It was March 18th. We were at dinner at Tona, and I just checked my email, and I was like, just kind of lost it. And we all kind of celebrated right there at dinner. So
I've had a chance to see him many times, but the one that stands out was an acoustic version, of the show, and it was just incredibly memorable. And so that's just going to be a huge treat for everyone, but particularly Beck fans. So
no, same here. I mean, Sea Change and Morning Phase are probably my favorite of his albums, and but I like the information as well. But those two, again, the more acoustic ones, I just totally connect with. So excited for that.
Congratulations on Ogden Twilight and what you've been able to accomplish.
Oh, thank you.
It's a lot of work. It's a huge thing. When you look back, what's your proudest moment?
Man, I don't know. It's just the best part of it, honestly, is
you're still kind of in it. So.
Yeah, I'm in it. Well, it is being there in the moment at the shows and watching everyone singing along, watching somebody maybe in tears or people hugging, and the next day when I'm laying in bed and I'm going through all our tags on the Instagram stories, and I'm just seeing everybody so happy, having like the best time of their life, and emotional and stuff like that. Like, that's it. That's the best part for sure.
And then you could see Derek in the back of those pictures with the little
just fuming. It's
cleaning the confetti.
It's a leaf blower. They have they have a team of leaf blowers.
That's an industry secret.
Leaf blower 1, leaf blower 5, leaf blower. Gosh, that is funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything else did you want to hit on before we move to Ogden Nature Center, Jared, about this year's season or anything? Because it's spread out against multiple dates, and so you had to get away from the whole every Thursday deal.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
covered?
that's it. Yeah.
We're covered.
Yeah.
How about that? That was pretty good. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah.
Brandi with the Ogden Nature Center has a festival this weekend, right? Earth Days?
That's right. Saturday.
My daughter will be there, and so will I. So,
oh, good.
You'll be there documenting every second.
I probably will have.
Aren't you the official photographer for the dance troupe?
I got drug into that. Yeah, so I am.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And by drug, I mean like I kind of like it. So yeah, no, I'll bring a few cameras and we'll video the Celtic beat dancer. So that's just one of the entertaining options you have there at Earth Days at the Ogden Nature Center.
Yep, it's a big day. We got lots planned.
Okay, what's going on this year?
Gosh, we have so many exhibitors. I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start with Trails Foundation of Northern Utah because they're a sister organization to the Ogden Nature Center.
That hat in there. Yay. It's above. Yeah, it's above you. Yeah.
Trails Foundation.
Yep.
Anyway, I shout out to them just because they provide Ogden and Weber County with just the most spectacular trails in all.
And they got some work to do coming up this spring. Got a little damage, but
but their work that they do is so important to Ogden. So shout out to them. They'll be at Earth Day, of course. Lots, just like all green gurus across the state of Utah will be there, and everything from water conservation to the Weber River Partnership, species invaders, stuff on. Of course, Wildlife Rehabilitation Center of Northern Utah. There's a long list, and then there's tons of fun stuff. We'll have both the Utah Poet Laureate and the Ogden Poet Laureate doing.
Oh, congrats! That's awesome. Sweet.
Poetry and poetry out loud, and then we have like poetry on the trails, which is fun on A-frame, so you can walk the trails, enjoy the space, and read some really lovely poetry. That's always fun. We have 3 different art exhibits. The traditional Earth Day art exhibit that's for school-age children, but then we have our birdhouse competition, this is the 30th year of birdhouses.
Happy 30th.
Thank you. And there were over 120 birdhouses submitted this year. Oh. So that's a fun trail. And then we have a bird idiom quilt show that is, so a bird idiom is like 2 words. It's the bird species and then something else that goes with it. So that's fun, and that's hanging. That's the 3rd show. Of course, we'll have like food trucks and live entertainment, all the things. And mostly just a big day to learn how to celebrate the planet, also learn what you can do yourself to chip in and take care of the planet.
Are you pretty dry out there? How's the water situation?
We have some trails that are a little soupy.
A little soupy, yeah.
But but pretty much passable. And so
Cool.
if you want to wander the whole 1.5 miles of trail network, wear some water boots.
Good to bring that up. Make sure you wear appropriate footwear.
Wear good footwear.
It's an interesting year, so yeah.
It's an interesting year, but what it brings to the nature center is wetlands. Honestly, quite honestly, it's wetlands, it's wildlife. It's a wipeout of invasive weeds, and it does so much good that we are pretty much just doing the rain dance.
I didn't know that. So that much water really helps get rid of the invasive weeds? Okay.
Can help with everything. And we are embracing all forms of wildlife. We've got new species setting up shop all over on our wildlife cams. And it's a pretty fun year. And
Kangaroos.
especially the waterfowl. I mean, the waterfowl on our ponds it's just amazing what's out there. The bird species list is big.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because obviously, it's a good place to go for bird nerds, right?
Yeah.
But what about the rest of our animal friends? Is there anybody sort of new out there? Any babies? Any new animals? Any rescues? Who should we know about? Who should we check out when we go out?
Well, it's a wildlife. It's a habitat, and so we're also into protection and not like going crazy on it, because we do get some people that just invade their space. So, but there's lots to see and to check out, and yeah.
Do people mistake you for the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center? Like, do they drop off animals or something ever?
Not usually.
Not usually? Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Rarely.
That's a good question, though. You probably get
lots of calls.
though.
We get lots of calls, and we refer birds up there for sure.
What's the cost to participate?
It is, I believe, $5 for adults, $3 for kids. There's a member's price of $4, so it's super affordable for the whole family. Bring some extra change, because we have lots of folks selling their green goods, all kinds of art and different things, food. So bring some extra change for all of that. The gift shop is super cute. You can't just not spend a little
you have to.
money.
Yeah, and everything's in now, right? Because we had some issues there.
All the snakes are in.
All the snakes are in. Okay.
Yes,
good.
we had a plush snake shortage last podcast.
Oh, that's so funny. Brandon, you've been going regularly for years, because I know Isla's been dancing regularly.
Yeah.
And so, what's your favorite part about the Earth
My daughter
Day?
dancing.
Yeah, that should be the question.
I mean, it really,
fun.
but I like seeing all the vendors there, and there's food, and it's
a
enjoyable.
chill day.
It's also fun to try to see if it's going to rain on the dancers.
Usually doesn't.
It usually doesn't. But
It's
last
usually
year, I remember
cool.
it was like that. You got to do the same thing in
Sunny but
Twilight.
cool.
In Twilight, was it last year where the weather was like every time? You're like, what in the hell? It was just a.
Can we talk about it? I don't think you're allowed to.
That's
I think
right.
No, you're not allowed.
Jinx those things.
Well, it's any outdoor event, and someone was talking about. But I mean, if you're booking outdoor stuff in April, that's not smart.
Fair.
Earth Day. The sun always shines on Earth Day.
We did the Ogden Climbing Festival in April for years, and we dealt with
That's
it.
right.
We dealt with it for years, and so, and then finally we still, there's a component that's outside still, but we do use the gym for the climbing, because
Can't count on it.
when it's beautiful, it's absolutely beautiful in April. In April, we're talking in April, and then sometimes it's cloudy and it's okay, but then if it rains, you're like, oh boy, it's a little chilly. So
Yeah.
it just depends.
I heard April 22nd is going to be great.
It is.
Weather's going to be perfect.
Weather looks like it's checking out.
Yeah.
It is.
And I looked ahead, and every single Twilight day is perfect.
Exactly.
So,
That's the other part of the
OFOAM.
arrangement. Yeah.
Perfect.
OFOAM, no rain. Yeah,
The sun is shining on Ogden.
Just the right amount of coverage. Just the right amount of coverage.
It is sort of fun to It is fun. It's an element. We have to deal with it, and then
It's part of being outside,
It's part
right?
of being outside. But I would much
love
rather
it.
it be outside than anywhere else. Especially, I mean, Nature Center obviously, but I do love the fact that the Twilight concerts are outside. You can look up and there's
Exactly.
stars. You can see the moon. You can see, it's fan. Yeah,
Gorgeous.
it's beautiful.
Those are
up
the
there.
moments. Those are
They
the
really
moments,
are. It really is. And so I wouldn't want it in any other way. It's just something you have to sort of deal with. But I do like the dancing. There's also, you can do the hikes don't the hikes have challenges or anything?
Sometimes different guided hikes. I mean, it's different every year, but there's storytelling, poetry. The list is like too long to even get into, but it's a big day. It's super fun.
And coming up is the 5K.
Yes, Fly with the Flock is slated for May 6th. That's a Saturday.
Best part is you get pancakes.
It's the perfect part. Like, if you don't even go to walk, you could just walk, have some pancakes.
Yeah.
Perfect Saturday morning, May 6th. But the date to remember is April 22nd, because that is both Earth Day and the last day of early registration for the fun run.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, okay.
So remember both dates and get your registration in for the fun run. And Brandon sometimes is our MC, which is really fun.
Yeah, I've been the last few years.
Yeah, which is nice.
For the fun run.
Thank you very much.
I play all the hits.
He brings the party.
Is this
It's
the
my
way
DJ
Is
skills.
this the way we ask him if he was available on May 6th?
No, I did. Well, I hope hopefully it's in the calendar, but I did show up to the.
Because that's smart, Brandi.
Yeah,
You
that
should do
was pretty smooth,
live during the show.
actually.
Yeah.
What was
Perfect.
what was the one I DJ'd last summer where I played all bird songs? Was that because it was the Bird and Brews?
Birds and Brews.
Yeah, I was under the impression I had a different job there, and I went there, and they're like, "No, you just need to play music." I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So I played all
the bird
birds,
songs.
all the bird classics.
Have you heard the bird song?
I probably
It's called the bird song. You have to listen to that.
Okay.
It's so fun. Every time I make the actual loop around Bear River, I'm like, gotta play the bird song.
Yeah.
It's a little rap. It's so
I mean,
fun.
I got all the bird requests. It's a fun game to play.
Yeah. So yes, and speaking of Birds and Brews, it is on tap this year, and it is August 18th.
Thank you. Dad jokes for the win.
Thanks.
That's such a good event. That's such a fun event.
Yeah, so it's happening.
Thanks, Brandi. Brandi was the first guest, along with Shane, on the new edition of Ogden Outdoor Adventure, which is now Ogden Arts and Adventure. So thanks.
Love
Thank you
it.
for doing that.
Yeah. Todd, do you have arts news at all as we leave here for the day?
Nope. If you're listening, I've said it a few times. I do work with the Salt Lake City Arts Council, and I have the 2024 call for entries for our exhibition calendar of 2024. Wow. The deadline is Thursday at 5:00. So you still have time to apply. All visual art forms. If you haven't been to the space, it's the Finch Lane Gallery, downtown Salt Lake City. And emerging artists, professional artists. What do you have to lose? Apply, and then I can find out what you do.
This Friday, the roads open in some of the roads open in Yellowstone.
How are they looking?
Yeah. There's snow, but the north road is always open, but the west entrance opens, and so you can go down to Old Faithful and you can go up to Mammoth.
And see the baby animals.
It's really the best time of year to go. Go now through like maybe the first week of June, and then once the kids are out of school, it gets a little hectic down there, and then don't go until like September, mid to late September. But yeah, I never go opening weekend because I always do the Nature Center thing.
Unless you're going out to Lamar Valley, like if you're going out there midsummer.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
But that's my pro tip. We will leave you this evening as we record this with the van session. Thank you to Banyan One for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Listen and subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, BanyanCollective.com, and the Podbean app for Android and iPhones. More information on Twilight is where, Jared?
OgdenTwilight.com.
It's pretty tough. Ogden Nature Center is?
OgdenNatureCenter.org.
DM us on Instagram if you want to be on the show at Ogden Adventure. This week's outdoor jukebox is a little something from Frank Flowers. They came down from Logan and played last month. This is weird.
Is this their van song?
Do you want to live in a van?
This here is Frank Flowers.
We'll catch you on the next Ogden Arts Adventure Show.
Do you want to live in a van with me and be perpetually covered in sand? Uh-oh, we could park it right on the shore. Uh-oh, baby, let me open the door. Maybe I could learn how to not suck at surfing. Maybe you could become a mermaid. Maybe I could take your hand. Uh-oh, maybe we could live in a These four wheels can fly, waving to our worries goodbye. We could zone to Zuma tonight. Let me know if you wanna ride. Do you want to live in a van with me and be perpetually covered in sand? Uh-oh, we could park it right on the shore. Uh-oh, baby, let me open the door. Maybe I could learn how to not suck at surfing. Maybe you could become a mermaid. Maybe I could take your hand. Oh, maybe we could live in a so good it sounds like a scam. Baby, we don't need no plans. We could get a really nice tan. Baby, just live in this van. Do you want to live in a van with me and be perpetually covered in sand? Uh-oh, we could park it right on the shore. Uh-oh, baby, let me open the door. Maybe I could learn how to not suck at surfing. Maybe you could become a mermaid. Maybe I could take your hand. Uh-oh, maybe we could live in a
Yeah. Frank Flowers on Van Sessions.